Hey guys, Chaos here and another review. This time I'll be reviewing the S.H.Figuarts Masked Rider Knights Revive. This is the S.H.Figuarts version of Masked Rider Knights power-up form. So, being part of that line, it naturally includes several things. It comes with the figure, several accessories, and a special Tamashii stage. So, let's start by taking a look at the figure itself. So the first thing to notice about Masked Rider Knights Revive is what happens when he powers up. While regular Knight has a blue bodysuit with black armor, when powered up to Knights Revive, his colors invert, so he has black bodysuit and blue armor. So starting with the head, you can see some nice gold and silver details. You see the painted blue forehead gem, mouth details there. All of the slits to the visor are painted in, and if you look carefully you can even see a couple of eyes underneath the visor. And while they didn't show up in the show very much, Masked Rider Knight always did have these eyes there. Moving down to the chest and shoulder armor, you can see this brilliant metallic blue paint with gold to create the accents, giving this armor a very bat-like feel, along with the way the horns of the armor, the horns of the helmet, look like bat ears. And going down here we can see the V buckle with his card deck slot in, a blue color with his symbol, and then some marks around it. And running down the sides of his body, his arms, legs, and belt are the signature plugs of the Ryuki riders. And so we can see more of that nice golden metallic blue on the forearm guards, shin guards, and a little bit on the feet, which are die-cast. Going around to the back, you can see these nice cape pieces, which are each in two parts. One that folds up on hinge like this, and a second that folds out from underneath, allowing you to splay out the cape. Lifting up, you can see that there are a couple more plugs on his back. Now, something to note about these cape pieces is that they do come separately in the package, and they are a little bit tricky to put on. The first thing you want to do is, of course, put it together. So it's ball jointed right here on the back of the upper cape piece. The tricky part comes when trying to put them in, because the ends of them are actually quite sharp. And so it can get tricky to do if you're trying to push it in like this. So what I recommend is folding up all the way and then pushing in like this, so that you're not risking poking yourself or cutting yourself with the sharp ends. So articulation wise, the head is ball jointed and go 360, tilt to the sides, move all the way around. It does also have an additional neck joint for added motion. The arms are on 360 ball joint. The only problem is the shoulder pieces. These are attached to the inner cuff of the shoulder, and they aren't that keen to move, so when trying to move the shoulder pieces, you're more likely to just pop off the shoulder pad. That being said, it does move out of the way somewhat when trying to pose it. You can also move the arm in and out. Has a rather tight bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Also has a forearm rotation that can clear up additional space for the elbow. and the wrists are on a ball joint that can also tilt and rotate, of course. Going to the torso, we have a nice little ab crunch here, as well as a waist joint. And the hips are on a very interesting system where it's similar to American action figures, where it's on two hinges, one that moves forward and back, one in and out. However, it's designed so that no matter which way you move it, the joint isn't exposed. I think it's a better way of working, or rather a better way of making that hip system than the kind that has a stem that you can pull out and then allow for extended movement forward or to the sides, as that does have a tendency to leave the joint exposed in certain poses. You'll have thigh rotation here, double jointed knees. Ankles are on a rotation and then a pivot. And you also have the always unnecessary toe joint. So, with the exception of the shoulders, a fairly well-built figure. But of course this wouldn't be S.H.Figuarts without the accessories. And so Night Survive comes with a plethora. First off, you can actually take the card deck and slide it out of the V-buckle. As you can see, it even has a little bit of paint to show that there's a card inside. And then the back is just plain black. And they even detailed in the empty part of the belt. And then that can just slide right back in, and it stays in place, so with no worry of falling out. Next, we have his main accessory, the Dark Visor's Vi. So this is the powered version of his regular Dark Visor, which changes from a sword into a shield. So taking a look at, we can see a bat face representative of his contract monster, Dark Raider, color of bat wings, his symbol in gold, and a sheathed sword. And what would a Riki Rider be without his advent cards? So Night Survive comes with 7. Survive, Advent, Sword Vent, Shoot Vent, Blast Vent, Trick Vent, and Final Vent. So taking a look at one of them, there are all these small plastic cards with all of the details printed right on. You can see the name, the lines at the top, the picture, and even some writing on the bottom. And then we have the standard Advent card back with the reflected words Advent card on the top and the bottom. So for the Dark Visor's Vi, there are 2 places to put in cards. The first is the Survive card slot. So for that, you take the Survive card and put it right into here, and it'll fall into place. It's also designed so that when you turn it over, the card doesn't fall out. To remove the card, you actually lift up the slot itself, and the card should fall out. Like so. Although for the sake of show accuracy, I like to just keep the Survive card in there at all times. Just line it up. And while this piece can pop off, you can just as easily put it back on and right into place. Just like so. The second card slot is up here. So these two halves of the bat face split open. Then you can take a card and place it in. So by using the sword vent card, we can then draw out the dark blade. And though he does do that normally when using the sword vent, it then extends out to this. As you can see, the blade is longer and more narrow, as well as having a gap in the gold parts from here to here. You can see it still has the same details, same blue jewel at the top, and the molded detailing on the lower part of the blade. Then we can put this back in, take that out, and by using the shoot vent card, we can fold out these two wings to create arrow mode. And so this, he can shoot laser arrows, just like so. Now, I'm just trying to get the card out, which is sometimes easier if you just pull out the sword all the way, because being sheathed does limit how far the doors can open. So this figure also comes with 7 hands, 2 left and 5 right. So for the left hands, there are 2 gripping hands, and for the right hands, there's a card holding hand, 2 gripping hands, a relaxed hand, and a splayed open hand. Now the reason why it comes with so few left hands is because of this one that is for use with the Dark Visor's Vi. So with this, I want to take it and put it on, which is a little bit tricky because of how the hand is molded. And getting it like that. You can take off his normal left hand, then replace it with this. Which is a little tricky because I'm trying to do this without poking myself. And there's also the whole thing of how the ball joint does move. That also makes it tough to switch hands, which is a rather typical problem of S.H.Figuarts in general. There we go. So then you can take that, rotate it around, and then pop it right into this joint right here. And there you have him equipped with the Dark Visor Vi. Now, while that was happening, the Survive card accidentally fell out, so I'll just put that right back in. And it doesn't fall out. So just like that. Then, taking a look at the Tamashii stage, you have this clear blue stage, which is modeled after his card deck, with the words Masked Rider Knight Survive written on it. You got this symbol, then these 4 marks around it, and 3 ports for the stage arm, which is this one right here. This is a more recent type, where the 2 stems are screwed together, unlike past versions where they were 2 pieces that you had to peg into each other. And that could sometimes be problematic, because sometimes you'd have the upper stem kind of fall off and take the figure with it. You also have the peg-on clips, which do move quite easily. And then of course they can fit into one of the 3 ports on the stage and rotate around. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have just a little something to take care of. So getting back to where we were, you can of course just stand him on the stage. Though to get the arm clipped to his waist, you're of course going to want to move the cape out of the way. And kind of position it about below the belt. Then lower the cape pieces, which do actually kind of go around the arm thanks to the gap between them. And then you can pose them as you'd like. So, just for a simple pose, we'll take out this, then change the right hand. And so for that, there are 2 options: a straight holding hand and an angled gripping hand. And so for this, I'll be using the angled one. So for ease of use, I'll go ahead and put the dark blade in prior to attaching it. Take the right hand, pop it off, and pop on the alternate one. Just like so. And then we can get him into a pretty simple pose. Something like that. Just getting everything all back together. Overall, this is a very well made figure. The paint job is excellent, the details are spot on, and the cape is amazing. While it does have the standard Figuarts articulation. I will say that the shoulder pads are a little bit of a hindrance and do bring the figure down a little bit. That being said, I don't imagine that there are going to be many poses you might want to do that would involve raising the arms up too much. But I'm not really sure if it's mine or if it's like this in general. It just is a problem with how that inner piece that the shoulder pads are attached to just doesn't want to move much. So that does kind of prevent you from doing certain poses, or, you know, you'll just try to move it around and then have the shoulder piece pop off. But overall, if you're a fan of Masked Rider Knight Survive, or his American counterpart, Kamen Rider Wing Knight Survive Mode, if you like the suit, if you like this form, or even if you're just a fan of one of the two series in general, then I can definitely recommend picking this figure up. Though the shoulder pads are a little bit of a problem, they definitely do not outweigh the rest of the figure, which is excellent. It has all that it needs to have, it does what it needs to do, and that's a great display piece. And as a bonus, you get this cool Tamashii stage. So this is one I can definitely recommend. And since they integrated Japanese listings with their English site, you can find this and other S.H.Figuarts on Amazon.com, which is where I bought mine. And they go for fairly good prices. And if you have Prime, you may even be qualified to get free shipping. So, you know, if you want to buy this, Amazon is definitely the first place I'd recommend checking out. All in all, great figure and highly recommended. So thanks for watching, please rate, comment, subscribe and check my channel for more videos, and for now, this is KRX50, writing off.